here today because we know that the window to take action to avoid the worst impacts of climate change is closing fast, and this requires urgent action across all sectors of our economy. We also know that digital technology can enable cross-sector transformation. But as a country, we've not yet been deliberate about exploring the full extent of how that digital technology can be applied to emissions reduction, which means to date, the role of technology has not been as prominent in our climate change planning. You'll all be familiar with our local climate change context. We have our first set of emission budgets and our first emission reduction plans in place. And because digital technology was a smaller footprint in New Zealand, and because the first ERP was understandably focused on proven and existing technologies that enable action in the short term, our sector doesn't feature as prominently. But right now, digital technologies are rapidly evolving and they're converging, and that allows us to solve problems that perhaps weren't perceived before or there weren't answers to. So the opportunity is much greater now as we think ahead on the broader sustainability benefits that can come from that. There are already several international studies that have shown the role digital technology can and must play. However, these studies do not consider New Zealand's unique agriculture heavy emission profile, nor our widespread renewable energy or electricity generation. So with access to quality and publicly available modelling from the Climate Change Commission, thinkstep's significant experience working across many sectors to measure and model environmental outcomes, and our own knowledge of how businesses use technology and the problems that they're actually trying to solve. Bringing all those things together, we've been able to provide a local view on that opportunity. So there are a number of different technologies involved in steps 1 to 5, everything from your mobile phone through to technologies like mobile access edge computing, IoT, artificial intelligence and cloud computing. They will all help us gather the data and then be able to form a view on insights. And to realise the benefits that technology can bring, we must continue to build the strong foundations we need for a growing digital economy, and you can see them sitting at the bottom of that slide. So digital infrastructure, capability, so the skills we need, digital equity, a supportive regulatory environment, and funding and capital investment to make the transitions that need to occur over the coming years. It's with this very wide view of technology's role in enabling a low-carbon New Zealand that we modelled the findings of the study. And so what we found is that digital technology enables a variety of actions that could collectively reduce annual emissions by 7.2 million tonnes by 2030. Which is equivalent to 42% of the reductions required to meet Aotearoa's carbon budget targets. The most significant emissions reductions opportunities are not surprisingly concentrated in our 3 largest emitting sectors, so transport, energy and industry, and agriculture. The emissions reductions modelled included 2.9 million tonnes in transport, 2.4 million in energy and industry, and 1.9 million in agriculture. So the reason we looked at the opportunities by sector is because this is the way we plan for emissions reduction in Aotearoa today. So we felt it would give us helpful analysis from a sector like ours, which by its nature sits horizontally across these vertical sectors as an enabler. From a national policy perspective, we believe that the digital technology should be built into all the sector strategies within the new ERP. Digital infrastructure risks should be integrated into risk assessments and adaptation plans, and digital equity integrated into the Just Transition Plan. Rural connectivity must remain a focus, and we must continue to recognise this is a joint responsibility between the public and private sector. We were pleased to see the government utilise the recent allocation of the C-band spectrum to recycle investment back into rural connectivity investments that are otherwise uneconomic. We'd also like to encourage the exploration of financial incentives to accelerate technology adoption, particularly in smaller businesses. This would build on the success of the government's Digital Boost initiatives in the years ahead. For our own sector, we want to engage with the key sectors identified in this report to integrate findings into their plans and our own. We believe we can do more as an industry to pursue a sector-wide approach to physical adaptation risks for our infrastructure, and we'll explore this with our industry peers. It's also up to us to champion disruptive digitisation opportunities that have cross-sector relevance and may therefore not be captured in sector plans. For example, the disruption of workplaces of the future. Every sector will be experiencing that right now. So for all businesses, when it comes to technology, we always say to start with the customer outcome you want and then work back to the technology. So the first step is to understand your emissions and where you need to reduce them. Then you can look at how technology may play a role in enabling that. As we've shown, the opportunities are broad, and businesses need to consider what digital skills will be needed alongside the technology, both within your own business but with the specialists you work with. And the final recommendation for all of New Zealand is to think about the data we will require to make decisions and automate systems in the future. As I shared earlier with the fire prevention example, the potential for technology and open data to play a bigger role in climate transition and adaptation is significant. So it's something we need to work on collectively to bring that together.
As you've already referenced, Jolie, we've released our first emissions reduction plan this year on our path to net zero, and our first emissions budget will be met with the technologies that are already available to us. But in the future, we will need more of that. We're just careful not to bank on it prematurely, lest we be seen to be doctoring our figures. So just making sure that we're really confident and credible in our expectations of what those technologies can deliver and when. But the work you've done here today demonstrates that with a clear roadmap, smart New Zealanders rise to that challenge and help us to get where we need to be. So I thank you for that. We see a lot of alignment here and lots of helpful overlap with the conclusions of the Climate Change Commission as well. And so I commend the substantive effort that's gone into understanding the scale of the societal changes that together we'll need to navigate if we are to be successful. For example, you identify the improvement in e-health, e-learning, e-banking and working from home, and the emissions that can be saved there, as well as enabling precision agriculture. Alongside our first emissions reduction plan, we announced significant investment in climate action through our last budget, and the establishment of the Climate Emergency Response Fund. This includes investment into innovation technologies and digital connectivity. For example, a $339 million investment was made to speed up agricultural greenhouse gas mitigation technologies, with over $100 million to improve rural connectivity, so because we see it as a key enabler for industry. We also, as you've already referenced, have the Digital Boost program that aims to create the most digitally enabled and engaged small business sector in the world, something that was accelerated as a result of COVID-19, 5 years worth of innovation in a short space of time out of necessity. We need to see that same urgency and necessity when it comes to climate adaptation. The program began in 2021, but already the Digital Boost program, but already there are over 55,000 users on the platform, and we're seeing positive results with 23% reporting increased revenue after using the platform, and 79% of users reporting that they would recommend the platform to others. So again, opportunity if we take it. It's also excellent today to see the examples and how, for example, technologies such as the Internet of Things are proving useful in driving the emergence of precision agriculture. I had a chance to see some of what you've been working on, but soil moisture and crop health are monitored through sensors, which allows better management of irrigation and more targeted application of inputs that have concern for all of us, such as fertiliser and insecticides. How sensors across our built environment can enable the emergence of smart or intelligent buildings that make better use of energy and other resources. Digital technologies not only fuel a lower emissions economy, but also a high wage economy. And again, there's the opportunity in a sector that is fast growing and where our companies are export orientated and we have big investors in research and development. As a government too, we put people at the heart of any future growth, which is why last month the Minister for the Digital Economy and Communications, Dr. David Clark, who I believe opened this wonderful space, launched the digital strategy for Aotearoa New Zealand to ensure people, communities, economy and environment are flourishing and prosperous in the digital era. It includes growing our weightless exports, which is a key focus of our digital technologies industry transformation plan, and the motivation behind Budget 22 funding for the software as a service sector. But I think too we need to keep working together to ensure that any increase in digital technologies is met with an increase in the way we manage electronic waste. It is a persistent issue, one for which we need to keep working together to design bespoke solutions that will work for New Zealand. Finally, though, I do want to recognise Spark's commitment to digital equity. I know it's something that is a real passion project for you, and every time I've met with you, I've heard it really amplified and at the fore of what you're doing, and it is in line with our own commitments to practical improvements here, including through ongoing investments in improving rural broadband. We're at a time and space now where these are not luxury items, they are necessities in the way that we conduct our everyday lives. And as I heard someone who worked in the tech space say to me once before, people shouldn't choose between bread and broadband because these are incredibly important technologies for people to have and basic necessities to have access to. Can I take this opportunity to encourage you all, though, to engage with the Climate Change Commission, noting the comment in the research that some of these calculated reductions are additional to those the Commission has calculated. And can I say we're very open to anything by way of policy change that could help accelerate the use of digital technology to reduce emissions or any barriers that could be removed. Ultimately, our work on climate helps us to show that New Zealand can not be just the best in the world, but the best for the world in the way that we conduct our business, in what we produce, and in the way we live our lives.